Let's write an equation of a line based on a story problem, an application. We're going to do two of these. So first step, as I've always said, is I want to find the slope of this line. In a story problem, we call it rate of change, but it's the same idea as slope. So what I want to do is, it looks like we're having more females participate in sports over time in the US, so let's go ahead and use the information they give us to find out what the rate of change is. I can see that I have some information up here. In 1993, there were 2 million females, and then 2003, there were 2.86 million. So I'm going to figure out what I've increased by. Well, 2.86, and you can probably do this in your head, minus 2 million is going to get me 0.86. And I'm just going to write the word million, and I'll probably include that in my answer. I don't want to work with these big numbers necessarily. So there's how many students I've increased by. But for the rate of change, I need to compare that to the number of years that have passed. Well, from 2003 back to 1993, 10 years have passed. If I go ahead and divide those out, and remember I said story problems, it's okay to get your slope or rate of change as a decimal, I get 0.086 million females as my slope. Remember, we're trying to do a fill in the blank type question. I want to know y equals something times x, that's my slope, and then plus something else, my y-intercept. Well, believe it or not, we're actually done with this problem. If you can remember what slope and rate of change and y-intercept all represent in a story problem, I've got my slope, my rate of change, so my equation will be y equals 0.086x, as long as I make a note that, that's measured in millions per year. So I'll do that, millions per year. And then the second blank is my y-intercept. Now in the past we had to, put a b value down and plug in a point for x and y. But remember in a story problem that the b value actually represents your initial amount, the amount of things, or people in this case, that were participating when the problem began. Well, back in this situation, the problem began in 1993, and it tells us that our initial amount was 2 million. So that actually is the only number I need to put right there, plus 2. And again, I may want to make a note that that's 2 million, not 2 people. That's my b value. There's my equation that I'm going to use to represent this situation. Keep in mind that x doesn't represent the year. X instead, if you think about it, x is representing the years since 1993. So we're not going to plug in like 1993 for x. We'd be plugging in 0 to represent x because it stands for 0 years since 1993. That's something else you may want to make a note of as well. But there's our equation in slope-intercept form that would represent this situation. Let's go ahead and do one more. This one will actually do an equation in standard form, and as easy as that first one was, this one's even easier. We're going to do this, like I said, in standard form where x and y will be on the same side. So in this case, we have $30 to spend. So that's actually going to be the answer to my equation when I'm done setting this up. So $30 to spend. I'm downloading music from two sources, uTunes. Get it? uTunes charges 79 cents per song, so I'm going to say 0.79 times whatever variable you want to use. I think it makes sense to use a u in this case, but you may want to make a note on the side if you're going to forget what things stand for, or especially if you're using variables that don't make sense or aren't easy to remember like x and y. Maybe make u stand for a number of uTunes songs, and you may want to, like I said, make a note like I'm doing, just to remember what's what. In addition to those songs, you're also buying songs for 99 cents from Rapster. Get it? So plus 0.99, and then times your variable. I'll use R, and again, you might want to make a note. R is number of Rapster songs. You guys can figure that out. And there's my linear equation. Nothing says I need to put it in slope-intercept form, so I'm just going to go with that. There's my standard form of an equation that models the situation.